here also. I think, I don't know how many of you all were.
So very good morning to all of you, and thank you for inviting SWMRT for this awareness session on solid waste management. And we were here last year, I think, to sort of kickstart, and I think it takes time to really build momentum and to do. And we are happy that now there is some traction, and we hope that you start off on this journey. And I think what I'd like to really focus on, I think we all understand, the problem of waste and what we need to do about it. It's now time for action. Okay? So fundamentally, we all, waste is really, when it's mixed, you can't fix it. So it has to start with segregation at source. And segregation at an apartment level, we need to do it at 3 ways. So we can have the wet waste, the dry waste, and the reject waste. And one of the best ways that we have found to segregate or teach segregation to people is really to use this kind of 2-bin-1-bag idea. It's nothing, no great, discovery or this thing. It's just a simple technique to remember that all your kitchen waste, right? Food waste, which is food particles, fruit peels, vegetable peels, everything should go into this green color bucket. And all the reject waste, that is sanitary waste, diapers, or if they are bandages, that should go into the red bin. And all the dry waste, paper, plastic, glass, metal, should go into a bag. It can be anything, but we are just making it as a 2 bins so that it's easy for everybody. A child will know, okay, at home, where should the banana peel go? It should go into the green bin. Where should my chocolate wrapper go? It should go into the white bag, right? So it's a simple idea that we need to. So it's a simple.
You can continue. I think we are very small group, so we can hear.
So the idea is just to make it simple. It could be any bin that you have in your house. But imagine if everybody, all 1,000 houses, start following. It becomes a common language, right? So the child goes to your friend's house. Also, he knows, "Acha, I eaten a banana wrap, a banana fruit, and I need to."
Yeah, hello. So if the child goes to a neighbor's house, so if you go, it's easy to remember that it has to go into a the green bin. So it's really simple. Imagine everybody. So you don't have your maids will know the maid is working in one house, goes to the other house. It's a simple system. It's really that simple system that we want to make it rather than everybody going. And this has been, we started this campaign in 2014. So it's almost 10 years. And there are hundreds and thousands of houses who have been following it. And once you start following it, it becomes a part of the system. You don't have to have a green bin because people know that you're segregating it 3 ways, right? Fundamentally, it is segregating into 3 ways. And that's really what the main message that we are trying to communicate. And there will be confusion. People will ask, milk packet goes into which? What is it going to? Milk packet?
The bag.
Yes, the bag, right? And you'll have some Swiggy dabba, you've got some food and there's some food left from the Swiggy dabba. Where does that go?
Food should go here, green, and the dabba should go there.
Correct. So the food will go into the green bin and the dabba will go into the bag. Another important point that we need to remember is we have to wash the dabba and then put it into this, right? Because the people who are working with waste are really going to touch with their hands and separate it out. So it's really important that we clean it and keep it so that there's a recyclability of the value of the product, and it's also a little concern for the human being on the other end who's going to be sorting. A little being sensitive about it. I mean, they're already doing a job of this, waste management, which not many people want to do. So let's try and make their environment a little better and sort of, and what we can do. So that's why
we can give some gloves and mask for them, no madam, whoever is handling.
Yeah.
Put gloves and put mask.
Yeah, but if you have the food in that, after 2 days when they are sorting, no mask will really be able to capture that, to really solve their problem. So that is, yes, they are being given masks and things, but this is what we can do from our end to make sure, and also the recyclability. If food has been in the dabba for 1 week and then they are sitting and sorting, most likely afterwards it will be of not good quality and they have to put as reject, right? So that is really
And
the
it's not
action.
just a remaining part. Sometimes what happens, I'm talking in large, that you didn't like that food and whole dabba is going into this. Right? So that time, we are thinking that some small part it's okay, but when you didn't like the food and whole dabba is going into that, it's really bad.
And also in this, what happens now, we are going to see the next demo for composting. And what we find is that when people take out the waste, there'll be one. Yesterday we went somewhere in Dhaka, and there was a food packet with some gravy inside the dabba. So we should have only the gravy inside, not the dabba, plastic dabba, right? And you're putting it into the composter. Now that will not get composted. So you have to remove it, put only the food into this, and that. So I think fundamentally we have to really look at the ways of segregation, and sanitary waste is something we should wrap it up. Now we can't just put the diaper like that or sanitary pad into the bag like that. So we have to put it into a cloth, newspaper, wrap it and keep it so that the worker who's collecting it is not touching it. So these are 3 basic things that we have to start or follow for segregation, and it has to be a regular habit. So there will be confusions which people ask, coconut shell, what do I do with it? Where does that go?
Bag.
Dry.
To the dry, right? So the coconut shell will go into it, though it's an organic matter, it will go into it because it is a recyclability rather than not going to get composted. So I think what we need to understand is how can we do this? And I think the team, as Sushil and team, are really making an effort to kind of get going, and they were looking at getting these bins. And I wanted to just tell you that this bin, at least I have been using it for the last at least 5-6 years for sure. And of course we use it for demo, but I have like this in my house also, which I use for putting my kitchen waste, or if I'm using some bioenzyme. So I've been using this. At the most it gets a little faded. I mean, that's like normal. But there is no problem in the quality of it. And whatever, I don't even know which vendor I bought it, but pretty much for this price you will get this, and at least 4-5 years around say it will work. And it's not a problem, it has to have a lid, which is why we don't recommend the one where you press and it opens, because that hinge goes off afterwards, you can't wash it. It's important to have a lid so that it's covered and kept, the food, and not open, right? Because many times you'll find dustbins which only open and without it. So all those basic conditions have been satisfied, and the fact that this kit has come up was something a bunch of residents like you thought of it 10 years ago. It's nothing, nobody discovered it. A bunch of residents from Kasamutta, Bellandur residents, because there was a rule which said everybody should segregate 3 ways. And they didn't know how to go and communicate this to every apartment, every resident. So they kind of brainstormed and they came up with this, hey, why not we start off with a bag for the dry waste? That was the first idea that came. Why do you think it's a bag for a dry waste? Why not another bin?
Dry waste maybe big size.
Volume.
Volume and reusable.
Correct. So that was the idea. That it is volume, your pizza box is big, your masala packet is small, so it comes all sizes. If I was putting a pizza box in this, it would get over, right? So that was the whole idea of the bag. What kind of bag? Because you find it the most common standard bag. It could be any other bag. We found this the most generic bag that's available, accessible. It costs some nominal amount. So So not to take for shopping, it's also great for us, for all our demos we take bags because it's very convenient. We put everything into it and do. And it also lasts, a long time for it. So the bag this is the idea of the bag that we can use for a thing like this. And the other thing important is in this, there will be many people who will say, can we put a liner? Can we put the waste into a bag and put it into this dustbin? Right? What do you think?
No. Advisable.
Not advisable? I think in this group everybody, but I'm sure the rest of the 900, 500, 800 apartment people have a thing. They will say, can I put biodegradable bag? That's okay. What's the problem with the biodegradable bag?
Take time to complete.
To open and then
So the reason why we are saying first of all not to have a bag, and there is a reason, is that when there is no bag, you can just look at the contents and say, oh, okay, there's one small piece of paper, something is there. You, if by mistake we have put in one plastic spoon, one milk packet edge, it's easy, quickly you can take it out. Or when the waste collector is taking, or when for goes for composting, you can take it out. But the moment you put it into a bag, whether it is a biodegradable or a plastic bag, it is a whole mystery, right? It's like a rabbit hole. You go into it, you don't know what all is there at the bottom of the bag. So it is very dangerous to kind of put it in, and that's irrespective of what bag. The second is the biodegradable bag. It is not biodegradable in a composter like if you have in your community. If you every day you are putting in 900 bags, it will not decompose. Maybe one odd bag here and there. In fact, yesterday one of our team members has given a biodegradable bag with, tried to compost it and has sent it for testing. So we are waiting the results to see what actually is it. But it's not possible if 900 apartment residents are every day putting 900 bags into your composter. You need a separate composter just for your bags. Okay? If you're willing to invest in industrial composting just for your bags, yeah, go ahead. But till then, let's not use the bag. If not, what was the other option? The staff who's going to go for composting is going to have an extra job. Each bag, he will have to open it, empty the contents, put it into the composter or a bin, and then he has to keep it separately. And then that bag cannot be recycled, it cannot be composted. So what are you going to do with the bag? It has to go for reject waste because it's already dirty. Nobody is going to sit and wash those bags. So imagine every day 900 additional bags are going to be generated in addition to all the waste you are going to generate. Is that really worth it? And you're struggling with the regular waste itself to manage your waste, right?
What about paper bags? Paper bag also same.
So paper also, what happens in composting, it is like, it has got ink in it, right? And first of all, again, it's maybe that one or you just put a small lining at the back, like maybe at the bottom, just a small, it's okay, so that you don't want to do. But if I was putting a bag, a bigger bag, that's also twice quantity. And more bags also becomes your paper content in your compost becomes very high. So that is why we kind of say not to do it. Either you just don't allow, or it can be a transition phase. Okay, maybe just comfortable, you start with, maybe for a week or a month, and then just shift to that kind of, or just a small piece of it at the bottom. But best is that if you just have a bag, you can take it and just wash it easily, right? Got some things inside this. But look at this, it's so easy to just wash the bag, bin, right? Whatever it is, if I'm putting, why are we putting this? We don't want to wash this. But if you are doing it every day, you're putting it out, we wash the plate, we eat, we wash the dishes, we cook. So why not just add this one more, this bin feels very neglected if you don't treat it like a, very this thing. It's also part of our waste, right? So we just have to rinse it like anything. And if you rinse it, it just becomes
That is the
nice.
only thing, but what happens if you don't keep anything? Once they put in the dustbin and keep it back, there will still some water or something will be there. That insects will be on that or the
Yeah, so we can rinse it. So two options. One is we can have two bins like this, right? So one bin and another similar whatever kind of a thing. So if let's say today I did not get time, so I emptied it and I at least kept it. I use the other bin for tomorrow. And tomorrow when I'm washing it, I wash that. So these are simple things that we have to follow, and I'm telling you why the context. See, if it is one house, individual, few people, today emergency, I put it, that's all right. But when we're looking at a community, what's the size of your community? I think some 900.
935 flats.
Yeah.
So on and yeah.
Yeah, so 930 flats. So everything you have to look at 930 times of that, right? 930 paper bags, will you be able to manage? What happens to the compost? So it's like, it's good to just set that, and many communities have done it. It's not like, it's impossible because everybody has challenge, there is a thing, but we have to do it, but look at it as, and in fact now when we go and see the composting process, you will see the effort that goes into composting, and this is an extra layer of work that we need to add to that process of composting. Can we reduce that? Can we make it a little easier? Can we make it, we have to really, people who are doing composting are doing an amazing job, and we have to really acknowledge and respect them. So can we make it a little easier for them just by not adding this? Otherwise, every day that person has the extra job of sitting and removing 800, which some communities are doing, and they have to kind of do it. But it's a choice that we have, but it cannot be composted for sure. That is the important thing.
Even just a testimonial from my side, even the water rinsing activity, it's a 30-second activity. I've been doing it, and I mean, thanks to that, actually my bin is a lot cleaner than how it used to be with the liner in it. So with the liner, we used to think like that abhi it's not full, so let's use it for one more day. Eventually, the amount of wet waste with the liner used to be so much that the liner used to start leaking within the bin.
Correct.
And then we moved on to this model, and now there are no fruit flies in the house. The bin gets cleaned every day, and it's literally a 30-second activity.
Correct. That's what, and that's also, so if you have only little bit of waste, like if you're putting a bag, then you're like, oh, why am I wasting one bag today, right?
Exactly.
So let
exactly.
me fill a little bit more, and then it's like, you can take whatever, 1 kg, 2 kg. Like he said, is right. The wetness, more it is depending again what food you're putting into it, it starts leaking. But if you have just a little bit of today's, literally 300 grams, 500 grams, you're emptying it, you're going to have very little thing left in it. And quickly, it just takes 2 minutes to really, 30 seconds to really rinse it. And so the 30 seconds ke liye, look at a comparison, 900 bags. For the 30 seconds effort, we are sort of replacing with 900 bags. So that's a big thing, and I think that's the message we have to. Today, affordability is not a problem. I can afford to buy every day a bag and do. We all have enough and more money to buy a bag and put it in. But where is it going? What is happening to it? I mean, that's really, I think, where we have to start thinking, not in terms of convenience, thoda. It's not. And I think after some time it becomes a very second nature to us to really do it. And it's also just the extra thought key, what happens to it and how is it for the people who are doing it. So that is really the simple. And even dry waste, what we say, I mean, there are communities who take it twice a week, thrice a week, because again, this bag is not going to get filled in every day, right? So 2 days, 3 days a week. Then it becomes easier for the person who's collecting when you are having a community. So then it becomes easier that 2 days a week, 3 days. So then wet waste and reject waste gets collected every day. But this can get maybe twice a week or thrice a week depending on the community. So you also tend to keep the dry waste better and cleaner because I have to keep that milk packet for more than 1 day. Right? So I'll rinse it, keep it. If I'm just going out, then I don't worry about it. Also makes us more conscious. It's easier out. And the bag is not going to fit. If you're filling this bag for every day, then you have to really think about your consumption patterns. Really, are we generating so much of dry waste every day? Okay, so that's another important aspect of it. Now let's look at, I want to see what is it, what's happening now, what are you currently doing as it started, are you segregating it 3 ways, where are you, I just want to make it more interactive and sort of a session and not really, I think everybody knows most of this, so let's see what are you planning to do, what is the departments, and let's see if we can come up with some solutions or ideas on how to make it happen.
before that, I have a practical issues with this problem because I know there are people who has a different time, period of working sessions, right? And our waste collection time is having some time, right? So it's between 9 to 1 or something kind of. Now, if I'm not using the this transparent bin bag, then I need to put this all three of my waste collectors in front of my house, right? Now seeing up each floor has around eight houses, so it will be full of this. It will be full of this kind of dabbas in front of the house now. Someone who I think will do not want to get up early in the morning, so they started keeping these things in the night itself. Okay, so at midnight they have taken food around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, so they started keeping their. So how to manage this situation, because even if it is a beans bag or transparent bag, so we actually make it tight and keep it outside. But with this, do we need to keep this whole bucket in front of that, or how you guys are?
Ma'am, there's a handshake problem between each house. They will take the waste, they will segregate it. Now what happens is, what he is trying to say also, and it's a problem throughout, that the mates, everybody comes in the morning, early morning, and somebody is leaving for their office, somebody is taking breakfast, moving out, everything. So the segregation happens at that time. Now if we have to leave this in an open bin, it will not get collected by the housekeeping people. They have to take each of this and then put it into a larger bin. Now that doesn't happen for a 935 dwelling. It may be possible for an individual house because the segregation or the collection happens at the gate for an individual house. Here there is somebody else who is collecting it and putting it into the larger bins and then taking it forward.
No. This is happening in every apartment. I can tell you, Prestige Temple Bells, 900 units in Aram Nagar. They are segregating it completely. So you have to have housekeeping to come and collect to your house. So they will have a bigger bin to capture the presentation.
No, they do that. They do that. They don't get the bins along with them. They are having it as a process to go to each of the block, and they have a timing where they collect it.
Yeah, so we have to just increase that.
There are two parts of this problem, and I tell you, I'm using this bin from last 2 months. So what happens when we collect it? If the lid is open, it will definitely create a foul smell in the corridor. So we need to ensure that basically we need to inculcate the habit of closing it. The same training will go to the HK staff.
Yes.
They will also they will make sure that they are putting the lid back. If the lid is properly done, there will be no smell, because it's being in our house also for 2 or 3 days does not happen, does not smell anything. So I think we need to train the HK, the housekeeping staff.
Exactly. So what I was trying to tell you is that we are the first connect in terms of generating the waste and putting it in a proper way in the segregated plan. But when it gets collected outside the house, or if the maid is doing that, for my sake, I segregate my waste, and when I'm leaving for office, I ensure that I tie it and put it outside. So when I'm not there, in my absence, it's still getting collected.
Correct.
So problem is that if we do that handshake with the housekeeping and ensure that they take this forward and segregate it accordingly, it moves in a smoother part.
For sure.
That is second part. That is second part which we are going to implement right now after segregation. And I will want to add one more thing. The first part, if you are putting out the garbage daily basis, that won't stick. If you are putting it for 2-3 days, then only stick. Okay. So that is not a problem, and with the lid it won't.
And
One more thing I heard is garbage collectors, folks, they are not collecting if you put the dustbin outside. They need to put your garbage in the bag, tie it, and then only they are collecting.
That's right. That's a right concern, and it will be addressed once we will train the housekeeping staff like how to collect and how to keep it back to the position.
Okay, right. Because we used to put the dustbin outside, but they were not collecting the garbage from.
So that instruction will change.
That will change. This is residents training. There will be a training for the staff as
Right now
well.
is
Also,
So they are following whatever they told.
with
them.
residents, we need to have some training for the maids as well, because they also
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
to be
they
educated.
are the main people here.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. So definitely. Yeah. Maids also.
So
but
from this, the message is here is that you need to keep these three, container outside when you are giving your waste, right? Is it the correct message?
Correct.
Okay.
what we have to do is optimize the time when it's out and the collection to be as minimum as possible.
Yeah.
So whether it is the number of people or the way of picking up, whatever, so
That has to be optimized so that it is out for the less time. Yes, but if it's 9 o'clock, it has to be at 9 o'clock. But if I'm leaving at 8, I have to leave it out at 8. Or I don't want to get up at 9 and I want to put it out 10, I have to still put it out at 8. So that's a little bit of exceptions which you have to see one by one. But you have to have a rule, right? This is what, and see what works best. And maybe you may need to increase the staff to collection so that it happens faster. So we will give you some data points of other communities as to how many people are doing, how long it takes, so that it will just give you an idea, okay, so you have whether it's a 500 unit, a 600, a 900, how long it takes. You can say in 2 hours they finish it, even if it's 9, because they have a tower, they have 2 towers, things like that. So we are also trying to do some study to arrive at this optimum number of best practices so that it can be applied for the community and use it as a guidance for you. So coming to your point,
Ma'am, sit somewhere, madam, sit somewhere. We can see you, sit somewhere.
so this is exactly, and this is from an apartment. This is not internet pictures, right? So they keep it out and see how the housekeeping comes with the 2 bins like that. And then there's a bag hanging. They put the wet waste into the green. So it's a blue, but they just painted a bit green so that it looks green. And you don't get these kind of green bins, I think, or some people use the other trolley bins. And then the red goes into it. This is why the bag can either be a big bag or a auto bin, whichever works. And then this composting part will go to your composting facility, and the dry and the reject will be kept in a separate location for the next step. It has to go out by a vendor. So this is the process, and there are multiple, actually we did this study. So this is another apartment where the staff is doing, keeping it out, putting into a bigger bin, and you just have to do it because it's I think a villa property. This is how, again, at the community, they bought a bunch of these bags and kits, and then we distributed it to all the participants. So we even do that, idea you have to even number your things because all the bins look similar and shouldn't get mixed up. So you say whatever, 21, 22, 23, the name of the number of the apartment, so that it's a kind of a thing. And how you do it, you have to have regular training for this because it's a behavior change. It's something that we are not used. We are used to doing it in one way. So it's a behavior change. You need to do it constantly, at least more often in the initial stages. Let's say monthly once, because first of all, everybody may not come. Some 30% won't come the next time. So you have to keep reinforcing it again and again till it becomes a habit and a second nature. So if you talk to communities who have been doing this for let's say 7-8 years, they just now it's just habit. We just have to come. Even a new person comes in, is given the kit, and this is the system to follow. So they just step into it, and you have to just follow. And it's sort of in many cases. Afterwards, the residents or the subcommittee members are not involved because the housekeeping is taking care of it themselves. They know how to do it, what to do, escalations. So they are not involved in the day-to-day, only in some problematic area they kind of come in. So it becomes a very part of the system. It needs us, and let me tell you, every apartment will say there are only 3 people or 4 people who are active. So that's the normal, no apartment where 100 people are active and willing to come. It's that 4 people who take the initiative with the support of the committee is very, very powerful, and really if they stand by this idea, then it becomes much easier. You're not fighting against an internal battle. So if the committee is supportive of the idea and stands by the process, and a small group of volunteers or subcommittee or green committee, whatever you call, can drive it, and they have driven it across. I can name every, Bangalore, how many apartments. I will connect you and you will speak to them. They will say the same thing, that yes, this is how we started. And there will be 5% who don't comply. Let's leave that 5% and not get too bogged down by that. Let's talk about the 95%, 90% who are willing to do it. The 5-10% problem to hoga hi. I mean, we cannot, but just let's not be a part of it and get diverted that one person is not agreeing. It's okay. And in one community, one of the things that they do is they get a lot of children involved to go and tell about this segregation.
Yeah.
You have to go to every house and tell them, because you call a meeting, there are only this many people, right?
Yeah.
So there is no easier way. It is, unfortunately, that is the only way. So you go, whether you volunteers you go or children go, and in fact that's why when you buy the kit, you get this smaller pamphlet. So you go and give it to every house, and it's written pretty much most of the things are given here. You can have some exceptions a little bit here and there, but broadly this thing is there. So this can be easily communicated and make sure children, got to take mark, yes, we visited this house, maybe one house was locked, one house was, somebody was not there, go back next weekend. So in about, 3-4 weekends, make sure you cover and give this message. Then you have this, so there are different activities to make it interesting. So what we do is we actually have like a activity where we put in all the driveways and then have a bunch of kids to come and sort of identify or sort it out kind of thing. So I've just picked up a few things. Of course, here it's all different types of driveways that is there. Yeah. So you see, all this is all like from my house, the driveways. It's all clean. I don't even know how long this driveways has been, because I use it for demo. I take it around. It is so clean. It is that I can even hold on to for 2-3 months together. It doesn't have a problem. It just needs space to keep it, right? So it's important to do it. We do a bunch of get kids to come and have this sorting game or things like this. And even this kind of aluminum foil. So this one is good. It's recyclable, 100% recyclable. But it should be like, it had some food in it actually, but I just rinsed and kept it. It is recycled. If I had not, then today it would be, ants would come. That's the thing. If I don't wash it, ants would start coming into it. Or if you have, I don't know, some other, things will start coming, stinking, smelling. So if you don't, you can even check this and see there's absolutely no smell, nothing, because it's clean dry waste. So get kids to, these are ways to, have activities where get the children, once go door to door, you have to do one. In fact, in one community there was a very nice idea that they did, which I thought was very creative. They got these kids to wear a red t-shirt, green t-shirt, and a white t-shirt. And then they went from house to house, which I thought was such a cute idea of just to, that the 3 colors gets very imprinted into it. It's very identified. It's just like a fun thing that in one of the apartments they said they did that kind of a thing with it. And kids can really, quickly pick up these things and be able to go and tell, and then have some games to it. And then for one, you start with one block. First you go everywhere, and then go follow up with that one block and say, okay, which house is having a problem? In spite of telling people to say, dry waste, is dry waste or wet waste?
Dry list.
Wet waste.
Wet waste. Okay, that's why I said dry leaves is wet waste, right? So these are confusions that people tend to have, that dry leaves is dry waste or wet waste, or what should this go, where does this go? And there are a few things which are a little confusing also. That is, it's up to us what we want to keep. And we always say keep e-waste separately as an e-waste dry. E-waste should not go out as part of your everyday waste, because the person where your dry waste is going may not know how to manage the e-waste, right? E-waste requires special kind of managing, batteries and things like that. So that we say to keep it separately as an e-waste drive, which you have like every fourth Sunday or every some day like that, where you can collect the e-waste.
Glasses and all those.
Yeah, broken glasses and all. Keep it separately, and then you have a vendor to come and collect the e-waste.
So one question, rest of the things seems to be quite simple and easy to follow. The only problem is kitchen waste we have segregated. The housekeeping staff has taken it, and when they take it to the organic waste converter, so there the technical part I think comes into picture.
Yeah.
So your job is only to educate on the segregation policy, or you'll be assisting us in the conversion of kitchen waste into organic waste, organic thing?
Yes, we will be doing that now. That's what we have come today. We brought all demo to show you how to process 100 kg of kitchen waste. We are going to demonstrate to
Normally,
you.
how much time does it take?
To
When you
compost?
start putting it into the bins, how much time it takes to convert it to compost?
It's very difficult. It's about, let's say, if I keep putting in a bin like this, my kitchen waste, assuming, I'm just giving an example. Every day I'm putting 300, 500 grams into this, keeps on putting. After I finish this, I close it and keep. It takes about 45 days for it to become compost.
And do we have to add something also, like some bacteria generating thing?
Yeah, microbes.
You had that?
Yeah.
Some input is like some costing is involved in that?
It is, it's a very low cost. It's like 100, like one brick, cocoa peat brick. We'll show you there. We have a cocoa peat brick. We have it microbes, the cocoa peat brick. It will be like 900 grams. The cocoa peat is maybe 250, 300 rupees. We bought a 5 kg block. We bought a demo. You can see
The
that.
housekeeping staff which have been doing all this work, they will be sufficient enough to do this activity.
Which one?
The housekeeping staff, they will be trained enough, they will be sufficient enough to do this activity?
Yeah.
Or they will apply separate people?
It is about, there are two ways of doing it. In some communities, what they do is they have a bunch of 3-4 people who are trained to do the composting, because you should know, and that's why we have come here today. Our team will show you how there's a right way to do it. Okay, that's one thing. And they have 4 dedicated. But what we recommend is in the housekeeping, you make it like a rotation task. So this week, this month, these 4 people are working on it. The next month, these 4 people. So everybody is sort of knows, or 2 from this and 2 from the new. So it's a rotational job, but that everybody is aware of it, or at least a set of people, so that there is no distinguish between like, oh, you are composting job, I am housekeeping job. There is no difference in collection.
These equipments are provided to us by the builder, and they have been lying idle for the last 3-4 years. So we were keen to use it so that we can.
You are very lucky. I was telling our team also, you are one of the most luckiest communities to have such a beautiful place for composting, waste management, have 20 composters. No other community has this.
You have already seen that?
Yes, I came last year. Yeah, there's enough. We can work on improving it. There's enough space on it.
Do you have a video where you can show for a large dwelling with multiple flats and all, where people are segregating and then housekeeping is collecting, then it goes to the compost and how it can be done? So that what we don't know, we will also get to know and be a part of it.
Yeah, so we have just finished making one video. Right now I have a small 3-minute promo video which I will show. It's not yet published, but we are going to publish it, but I will just show that.
That will be nice.
children.
Yeah, we have already thought about it.
So make it some block captain kind of, so that they
Already
can-
done.
Yeah.
There is a group there. You're not part of it. I'll add you then.
मैं उधर से connect करना
So we had created, so this training we had taken 1.5 months back, and in all the participants of that day were added into a WhatsApp group. Within that WhatsApp group, then we asked for tower captains. We were calling them tower champions.
So I mean, on the kids group, right? You were talking
All kids, adults, all of them. But yeah, we can work exclusively with kids also.
I know that their interest is more.
Yeah,
than
yeah.
us, and we need to train them.
For sure,
so
for
because
sure.
their future is in their hands.
For sure.
I would love to include my kid.
For sure,
she's
for
in
sure, for sure.
7th standard, so I think.
They'll understand also.
Yeah, she's already understanding the environment science, right? So they'll be more interested on that.
Absolutely.
And mostly they will take some responsibility. So there's, I mean, it's not, we have bought this house, but they
That's
should take the advantage of
No, it's good.
learning things and how they can take it further. Right?
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
We can pay for it.
I mean, for F Tower, yes, I'm sure that there are a couple of good student and kids, bright kids, who can take the lead. So you just identify, I mean,
For
make
sure.
it this way, so that they
For
can
sure.
take their own responsibility.
Yes, 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 yes.
Or else you can place the mic on the speaker of
ऊपर वाला ही है, first one.
Second one also do.
No, that is internal speakers.
But वो भी output कर ही जाएगा ना.
HDMI से automatically it should work, na?
हाँ, automatically should work.
No, this is Potronics.
This is Potronics.
Potronics.
इसका put no.
I will give the voiceover. I'll explain this. So you can see the videos. So this is actually Prestige Temple Wells, which is 900 units in Nagar.
Can we go to the beginning? Yeah.
So exactly for this one reason only we.
Thank you.
This is Prestige Temple Wells, and we have been working there for almost now 6-8 months, I think. And we just finished this recording. Yeah, and we just finished recording a video just to show, because many people were asking us. And what we want, this was like a promo video actually for us. They have this, they've come to waste, then they sort it out in case there is some plastic or something, they remove it. And then they put it into, this is their composting area. Because this was a promo video, we have just put different things together. So this is our program called Yes in My Backyard, where we are encouraging communities to do composting. This is their composting yard actually. So after, maybe I can request Sidhu from our team to explain how they are doing it in this apartment after this video. So this, typically we start with a pilot, let's do 100 kgs, then do 200, then go to 500, so that you are confident of the process of doing it and not get overwhelmed by it. So this is a mesh composter that we can add in case you are running short of capacity, which is a low cost and a thing. They have been also invested in a shredder. And after that, we typically give a guide like this on how to do the composting, what is the process to follow, because each apartment will have slight variations of the process. And then we say what to do with excess compost also. So sometimes they have some challenges, let's say some flies, something. let's try and problem solve and find solutions for it.
So I have one question. Just got idea from this only. For garden waste, can we create a separate area in the garden only? I don't think that will stint. Can we create something different thing for composting that way?
Yes.
Is it possible?
Yes, yes.
And I don't think that will stink much.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, the garden waste can be used for the composting. The shredded matter can also be used for it. So maybe Sidhu can just explain.
Apart from that waste management area, that can that be done in a normal garden area also?
Yes.
By a separate.
Even the same place where you have it, there's a lot of passage there.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just take like these mesh
Some
composters
jolly
and
work can be done in that can be
it
done
should be done
separately.
small ways so that when we have to do a calculation, assessment and all that to see quantity, how much. We need a shredder,
Okay.
a very good shredder, which is makes it into small pieces, makes the efficient at least 5 times faster. Otherwise, it will take a very long time for
Because
garden.
the area will increase
Correct.
by
And-
shredding.
Yeah, you can store more quantities, and a lot of it can go into your composting wet waste because your wet waste is very wet. You need to add this matter to make it dry, and that sort of a thing. So it will be used very nicely, and that can be used for your make it shredded, keep it like that, keep using it for your material. And once you ask the question how long it takes to compost, right? So if 45 because it keeps adding, it's difficult to calculate, but yes, 45 to 60 days in that cycle. Once it's even half done compost, we can again use for composting.
That's true, but that is that my question was that by those once cycle is completed, will all those bins be exhausted during that time?
Yes. That's what we have to see the capacity. We don't know the capacity. It's 20 liters, this much. We have to do a calculation for it. How much? So one of the steps we suggest is first we have to do a audit calculation, which you may have already. Like 5 days you take a weight, how much wet waste is generated, or 1 week. That becomes your average. So let's say 900 to 650, right? And temple was
925.
no, but the wet waste quantity is 650 kgs. 750 kgs is there. They have done calculation.
Prestige.
And then they are planning like that. So, and in fact, they send us their hospital. Now we get data. Every day, tower-wise, they have data. So we are also trying to analyze the data to see what is the range. So we can tell approximately this is the range that comes. So you have to measure first for 1 week to get an average. And let's say the average your community is 650 kgs. Then let's plan for 650 as a broad plan. Okay. Then we see how much is the current capacity there. Maybe it is 200, maybe it's 300, I don't know. Then we need some extra mesh composters that we have installed. Is it good to add it on because it can hold on to it for curing till the time you start using this. So there's a process to it. We will get into that in a much more thing. And what we say, we start with 100 kgs. I mean, we do that after 1 week, make it 200, make it 400, so that you also get the confidence of it. I'll ask Sidhu to just explain how they have done in temple wells, what happens.
So do we have any data, average data from other communities? What is the average output of per head per plant? Do you have any data? Any from other communities? So I'm not saying.
The average data that we use is every house, whether it's apartment or individual, is 1.2 kgs per house.
Per day.
Yes, per day. In that 600 grams, 650 grams is kitchen waste.
Kitchen waste.
60%, yeah, which is the composting. 30% is dry waste. 10% is reject waste. That is the average that we follow, and mostly it is like that. But we can always do a split just to make sure that it may be 60 in some, it may be 65. It's 60%. Yeah. So we will just explain briefly how in this apartment, how they are, like what intervention we have done, right? How they are composting, and I mean the wet waste is coming. See, they were already segregating and all that when we went in. So we did not go into the segregation process. They were doing something else. They were having problem with composting. We went in to facilitate, and then we were just gave guidance for things like this.
कनाडा के लिए बड़का तो हिंदी की बेटर
हिंदी
हाँ ठीक है। तो हम पहले टेम्पल में गए थे, वहाँ पे तो सेग्रीगेशन पूरा का पूरा ठीक था। तो वहाँ एक प्रॉब्लम था कि कंपोस्टिंग ठीक नहीं हो रहा था उनके जो बिन में और प्रोसेसिंग में कुछ गड़बड़ था। तो हमने बस गए और क्या सिचुएशन है और कौन सा बिन यूज़ कर रहे हैं, उसका डेली कैपेसिटी क्या है और क्या ऐड कर रहा है, कितना ऐड कर रहा है, हमको थोड़ा ये स्टडी करना था। स्टडी करने के बाद पता चला कि वो स्टार डस्ट यूज़ करते थे। स्टार डस्ट अगर कंपोस्टिंग में यूज़ करते तो ब्रेक डाउन होने में बहुत टाइम लगेगा क्योंकि वहाँ पे कार्बन कंटेंट बहुत रहता है। तो हमने देखा हम फर्स्ट क्या किए, स्टार डस्ट से उनको कोकोपीट को शिफ्ट होने के लिए बोला। उनके बाद जो भी किचन वेस्ट आते हैं उनसे पार्टिकल छोटा छोटा रहना चाहिए। वो लोग ऐसे बल्क ही डालते थे, मतलब बड़े बड़े चिंग्स डालते थे। उनको फिर से गाइडेंस दे दिया कि हमारा किचन वेस्ट ऐसा रहना चाहिए और ऐसा मिक्स करना चाहिए। कितना मिक्स करना चाहिए उनको थोड़ा सा आइडिया नहीं था। तो आइडिया ये है कि जो हमारे इंडियन फूड में 70% मॉइस्चर कंटेंट रहता है, उनमें से मॉइस्चर कंटेंट को ऑब्जर्व करने के लिए इक्वल अमाउंट हमको ग्राउंड्स ऐड करना पड़ेगा। और ग्राउंड्स कोकोपीट हो सकता है या ड्राई यूज हो सकता है। अगर आप कंपोस्टिंग करते हो तो प्रीवियस बैच का कंपोस्टिंग हो सकता है। ये इक्वल अमाउंट से हमको मिक्स करना था। तो मिक्सिंग कैसे करना है, मतलब कैसा रहना चाहिए वो मिक्सचर, वो हम जो जो एक बेलपुरी रहता है ना, थोड़ा ऐसा वाला पूरा रहता है ना, ऐसा रहना चाहिए, फ्लफी रहना चाहिए। हम कैसे लेयर करना है, लेयर करने के बाद क्या प्रोसेस यूज करना है। अगर हम हमारा किचन वेस्ट अगर विजिबल रहा तो फ्लाई इश्यू जरूर होगा। तो एंड ऑफ द डे हम किचन वेस्ट ऐड करने के बाद उसको ड्राई लीव से कवर करना था। वहाँ जाने के बाद कंपोस्टिंग इश्यू था, स्मेल इश्यू था, फ्लाई इश्यू था, पूरे के पूरा थोड़ा बिगड़ गया था क्योंकि वहाँ का जो कैपेसिटी था वो कम था। मतलब जो हमारे 750 kg कैपेसिटी है उनके बिन उतना झेल नहीं रहा था। तो उसको कैपेसिटी को इंक्रीज किया फर्स्ट फेज, सेकंड फेज, थर्ड फेज में। तो ये फेज वाइज चला। फर्स्ट फेज में इतना स्टेनलेस स्टील में और सेकंड फेज में इतना और थर्ड फेज में इतना। उसको और चॉपर इंट्रोड्यूस किया और चॉपर से पार्टिकल फिर से छोटा छोटा करने लगा। तो अभी 46 मेशेस डीआरओ मेशेस अभी इंस्टॉल किया है। बेटर है, मतलब कंपेयर किया तो बहुत मतलब बहुत बेटर है। जो हम गए थे उनका कंपोस्टिंग देखने के लिए, वहाँ का जो क्वालिटी देख रहे हो उससे बहुत सारे गुना अच्छा है। वहाँ का कंपोस्ट जो भी जनरेट होता है पर मंथली हम वहाँ से लेते हैं। मतलब वो तो 900 kg 900 अपार्टमेंट का जो वेस्ट आते हैं 750 kg, 750 इंटू 30 ये तो बहुत सारा नंबर है ना। तो एक मंथ में लगभग उनका बहुत सारे टन वेस्ट कंपोस्ट जनरेट होता है। तो हम वहाँ से बाय करते हैं। तो अभी हम कोई भी हमको पूछे कि अरे यार लार्ज स्केल में कंपोस्टिंग कर सकते हैं क्या? हाँ सर कर सकते हैं। आप वहाँ मैं आपको रेकमेंड करूँगा, आप जाके देख सकते हैं कि वहाँ पे प्रोसेस कैसे चल रहा है। तो लाइव मॉडल है, हमको सजेस्ट करते हैं।
Ideally, yes, if you can go and visit, nothing like it, but we have done our best to try to video and we are going to make out one more video of it. I'll quickly just go through. So we are going to be going to that composting area where today we have asked the team to get 100 kgs of kitchen waste, and we have brought all the material, that is cocoa peat, dry leaves, everything today from our center itself to show how to mix and how to do all this process. And like he was explaining, that's very key to it, and that's exactly what has been followed here. And you were asking about garden waste, right? So these are all different methods of composting options that you have. You can do cement ring, you can do mesh, you can do clean, and these are all what we call as do-it-yourself. Do-it-yourself composting. So I'll quickly just go through. So these are other composting solutions of actual apartments that we have. We did a competition last year was to recognize the compost karigars. So we call the people who are doing composting in the apartment as compost karigar. And last year we had a recognition. We asked apartment to nominate them. Then we did some evaluation and then we selected about 6 compost karigars. We went and do a third-party evaluation and then we recognized them at a function. Because it's important to recognize that this job is so important what they are doing and nobody really don't even know the name of that person who's there. It's like some staff, some worker like that. And such a big job. They are actually doing what we call today climate actions. We talk of climate change, methane emissions, all this.
They are the front line warriors.
Correct. And if we are not sending, if we are composting our kitchen waste in our community, we are saving the transportation cost, CO2 emissions of it going out. And if wet waste is gone and dumped anywhere, it generates methane, which is 25 times more harmful than CO2 emissions. And by doing composting, we are even preventing CH4 methane emissions. So a community like this is really doing real climate action today.
This leads to greenhouse effect.
Yeah, so we are by taking care of waste in our community, we are solving all this. And if you actually calculate those numbers, it's pretty huge. And that's real climate action as a community, and we can be proud of it. And what they are talking in COP and this and that, that's the action we should be taking action today. So that much is possible.
So can we get support from these karigars specifically from in our society also in case of me?
No. We are telling that we will train your staff to become karigars. We don't have that. Yeah, we don't. And what we are trying to do is in our center that we have in HSR, you can also visit sometime. I don't know. It's a learning center in HSR. You can come and see all this different composting. So we want to offer that as a skilling program. So we want to take people who want a job, come train how to do, so that they can get recruited or appointed in apartments. So that's a program that we are.
Yours is an NGO or you are funded by something like?
Yeah, we are an NGO. We are a trust, solid waste management. I didn't go to my presentation, but yeah, we are Solid Waste Management Roundtable. It is a trust which has been working in the area of waste management from 2009. And we've been doing a lot of policy work and all. And this is one program that we are helping in apartments with composting, because it's a big action that we can take, and also skilling. So we're trying to find people, skill them, make them, skill. This is also a skill. Today you want electrician has skilling. I mean, there is plumber have it, right? But if you want for composting, where do you get a person?
Nobody cares for it.
Nobody has. So we need that jobs. Imagine how many apartments in Bangalore. Every apartment, 2 people you need for composting. How many job opportunities are there, right? So we want to create that job skilled person so that they can be got a job.
It's a social obligation also.
Correct.
Our society as well as personal.
Right. So we see you are doing so much action, and apartment is like a regular job and it needs a skill. And if you see, it's only a skill of how to make it efficient. It is not very big rocket science. I just want, maybe I want to just end with this. What are the things that the community can do? One is the segregation and waste management. That's from last time's picture. Yeah. So, he's really doing awareness sessions for communities. Start composting in your own apartment. And, Ganesha's festival is coming up. How do you make your festival zero waste? Don't add more waste to the existing process of it. So you should get a cutlery bank so that we don't use paper cups and disposables for every event that is there. मेरे को नहीं चाहिए coffee.
Why? Because it is a waste
disposable. That's why.
It's paper cup. We don't drink paper cups. We only drink steel cups.
There's a saying which कहता है कि उपदेश देने के लिए होते हैं, implement करने के लिए होते हैं।
हम देते भी हैं, बोलते भी हैं, खाते भी हैं।
I think 1 cup takes 6 glasses of water to make something like that.
Yeah. It takes, and it has a. We are all going to be drinking a cup now. It's got the melt, and you'll be drinking some plastic also with it. So.
The chemical coated which is
Final time. Last time.
Yeah, I've got two small points. One is what he has been mentioning, I think we missed out, that carriers whom we have established, okay, they can be deployed in different, like a sub-consultant type. No? So they will have very good motivation for them. Because your organization may be falling short of this thing once you try to do everywhere. So if the consultant, those carriers, super carriers forward.
No, we are only trying to create this career. There is nobody like that. We are trying to
Those already created can come and rather than if you are.
We have 4 people we have in our own organization. All the people
That's fine. That's fine. You are being able to cater. One more question is, I am vegetarian, but what happens to the non-veg type of things? Where
This also gets composted.
including bones, etc.
Yes.
Bones take a long time. It will not this thing. But it just becomes leaner afterwards.
I know, I
So, in terms of what we are, as the housekeeping team, so we believe your expertise and what you might do is say, this expected level.
No.
Do you have a monitoring system?
So we don't have, see, we are only there to facilitate, to guide the community, MC, the community team to do all this, that's all. We will give you what to do, I'm telling you all this. This is all how you can do a drive for a place.
That's why we feel obligated to it.
Because we have seen in our experience, the residents, they don't comply with the things unless there is a penalty law. So if we impose a penalty law, they will
Planning to provide.
Yeah, we'll keep a camp where people can come and buy. We'll float a Google sheet, Google form. We'll take.
It should be mandatory, right?
No.
It is a mandatory.
Some people already have it in there. Like I know Abhay has that set up in his own.
Each house will tell you that you are not doing, but as a community,
they have to.
They need to arrange for this. Either they can buy from this your camp or Mela, or they can arrange this. We are not forcing it, but it has to be mandatory.
It has to be like this.
I stayed one of the individual houses.
Portability comes much faster.
Then you have to,
That we have to
apartment
implement
has
it.
to, apartment has to say, if you don't, 100 rupees fine. If you don't, and many apartments have done it. So there are two techniques. One is naming and shaming. So you put it publicly. Apartment 302 not segregating, apartment 405 not segregating, right? You put it out. That's naming and shaming. In some apartments, they fine. So they are empowered. The housekeeping is empowered. That first time you give warning. Second time if they do, it's 100 rupees. Third time is 500. Fourth time is 1000. Like that. So you do it to some extent. Some they just go and talk, they try to explain. So this is what many communities have done. So coming back to that cutlery bank, you should have that so that you are so that you are not generating that.
Best practice in this way, keeping the drinks outside. Throughout the day and night, do you have any best practices?
Keeping drinks.
When we keep it outside, housekeeping, does it have to be taken
Like.
night also? Some sort item.
Yeah, if you're not there, you have to keep it out, but you have to fix the time collection. 7 to 8 is this block or this floor or something like that, and they come within that. But if you're not there, that you have to keep it before or after so that it is there. If exceptions like, okay, every day I go night shift, something I don't know, then you have to find the solution. Some communities would they go directly and drop it off at that drop-off point.
Place, but suppose I missed
You have to figure out those are exceptions.
or maybe all
Then
of
you
a
can
sudden
only go and dump
go
it.
and dump it.
We already have it in our list. We'll keep a central bin also.
You can do that. That would be
Lot
also
So that
of-
someone
yeah.
can
You
go
see
himself
lot
and
of
do it.
resistance from
Yeah.
housekeeping staff, but they are working for you. They are working for you. So we have to do two things. One is we have to be empathetic to them and consider them also, and not expect them, okay, this is mixed waste, now you put your hand in, separate out food waste like this. Then they will oppose, and that's their right. They don't have to do it. That's when you have to make their conditions better. Maybe you have to get a better trolley so that it's easy and ergonomically easier rather than, bringing it from there all the way to this. what can we do to make their conditions, working conditions better? That is something that the association, the MC has to do. Having done that much, they cannot, they will resist, but it's about housekeeping, it's mandatory, it is a law to do, and they have to do. Okay, we'll show you the cup after you drunk.
You said that the composting you buy it. You buy the
Cocoa pit.
No. There is a
end product.
So the compost that is produced, many times communities don't know what to do with it. So what we are also trying to showcase is that you can buy it, enrich it, and use it again for somebody, but you have enough landscape here to use it.
Okay.
So ideally you should use it within your community. And we also have a program called Compost Connect where we are trying maybe neighboring farmers
can come and take if there's 5 tons or 3 tons. They can come and buy it. So we are trying to facilitate
So the
that.
reason why I was asking is if there is a monetary benefit attached to it, can the housekeeping be, since the incentives can be done on that for them to see something good?
Yeah, one thing is in waste, it's not a profitable business.
Like, it's not like I'm going to make a lot of money. If you use better,
if you do improve the process, you will get some amount that can be used for incentivizing it. So this is the paper cup, right? And this is the lining that's there in it. So we do experiments to prove what happens to the paper cup when we put hot. And this little plastic has gone into all your stomachs, whoever had this coffee now. Okay? So that's why we say we don't, and so we say you need to get a small steel glasses and keep it, and whenever come you use it, and we have to go back to do it. So now today we have generated 50 cups extra waste. If it was just a steel glass, you would have rinsed it and used again for the next event. So that's how every one by one that step thing, it matters. So if you're having 1,000 apartments, in many apartments they have a cutlery bank. So they have 200, 300, steel glasses and stuff. So if you're having a party, you can just rent it from your association, use it, give it back to them. And many apartments do that because you don't have to go outside. Otherwise, there are outside cutlery banks also. So that way you can use it for your community events. 10 people bring your own plate, bring your own. So maybe 10% bring it. So we are reducing it. So these are all minimization techniques. And this is where you do other like clothes drive, e-waste drive, books, chappals. These you have drives every quarter, every month, or whatever, whenever it is. And there are a lot of organizations who will come and collect it. So those don't have to go into your regular waste, right? You have some old clothes, you don't know what to do, or even good clothes, you don't know what. You have a drive, you have a scrap sale. So this apartment or White House, they do every second Saturday, they have a sale where they get things people don't need it. They set up this thing and they make it, and anybody can go buy it. Everything will be 50 rupees. So it could be like, I don't need some dabbas, or it can be for the staff, 50 rupees everything or whatever. And that money that they collect is what is used as incentive. So that becomes a kitty. They use it for the cutlery bank, they pay that lady, or they incentivize when there's a special occasion, somebody who's helped. It's there. Another way of generating small ideas is revenue is a newspaper drive. You collect newspaper from everybody, give it to the Radiwala. The money that you get, if I was getting it was 10 rupees, 100 rupees, it's okay, it's only 100. But imagine if so many houses, that's a good amount that can be used to create a common pool again too. So you can get small things like that to ensure that waste is, generates some revenue and incentivize. But from waste itself, we don't get. From the waste itself, you can't get money like enough money to do it unless you have to put in effort. You have to sort the dry waste into many categories. Then you have to find recycling. If you do that, you will get money. But you have to spend effort. You have to have a room sorting. Then in dry waste, compost is not much. 1 rupee 50 paisa 1 kg. So it's a very small, and you have to take from here transport cost.
मुझे कॉल कर दो जब आ जाएंगे ना मुझे कॉल
as a lot of money, but look at the other benefits of it.
Sushi,
Yeah, so I think we have done.
They're coming, right?
So thank you. I hope it was this session really got you all to do, and I hope it really the people who are here to really push and make the community happen. And next time, I'd like to give this as an example
Yeah.
to others in this area. There's so many apartments around Bodile Cross, and we want to give this as an example that go and see Shriram Greenfield, how are they doing it, right? So that should be, and once you're doing that, we already have, we're going to Prestige Tranquility. I forgot to mention that I reached here.
No, just tell them that we're going to start from Prestige
Tranquility, they said they wanted to come here and see. And so we are going there at 2:30, but I forgot to, in the excitement, I forgot to mention that we are here. But yeah, so please, you all can be really, I think there's a good team that has come forward, this really, enthusiastic, and everybody should support them to do. You need many hands really. 12 blocks, how many blocks you have?
6 plus 3, 9.
6 plus.
9, yeah. So you need at least 2 volunteers minimum for every block, and and the MC team and the waste management team. It's very doable. So I wish you all the best, and really look forward to hearing your success stories shortly.